is that might be something you want to start asking about. There should be people in your site that can help you do that. But that's where you'll be able to go in and put your pacing guides aligned to the new national and state standards so that it makes it a little more user-friendly. Which means, of course, that over the next 2 years, there'll be lots of opportunities for folks who would like to earn $22 an hour money being on task forces having to do with curriculum. You'll be seeing at some point this summer information coming out about that. There's going to be a lot of that flying around next year. So if you have an interest in it or want to be involved in those things, everyone in this room will have an opportunity, and they're all going to be, at this point, they're all paid positions, extra duty money to go through on that. So just a reminder that this is the time, if you know you're going to have coaches or volunteers in your programs next year, get their paperwork going now or as soon as you can, because it takes a while for all of that to process, and you get it started in the summer, or even as soon as everybody gets back in August. It's a lot smoother than trying to do it the week school starts. Go through that. Okay, so back in August, we had just come off a summer of doing a ridiculous amount of paperwork for things called SLAs, which is how principals were going to be funding schools, and that was going to then include off-ratio positions. And in August, the plan was that all off-ratio positions were going to go into school budgets, and the principals were going to be in charge of those off-ratio units, which is a lot of the people in this room. Somewhere around the middle of February, all of a sudden that plan simply evaporated. So off-ratio units still live exactly where they've always lived forever, at least for the 1920 school year. The sky is falling, no it's not. So at this point, we have no idea what's going on with SLAs, and when we asked if we'd be ready for this meeting, we were told, don't ask about SLAs. So, so at this point, those of you who are off ratio, whatever it was last year is what it is next year. So at this point, hopefully your administration has already dealt with all of that. But if not, you can look them straight in the eye and say, if my position was funded last year, it'll be funded again next year. And if they have any questions on that, they can contact me, and I'll be happy to walk them through it. There's no change in the 240 and parapros, other than HR is going to be taking this over, taking the checks over. So my sense is that there's a lot of folks out there that have been 240 adjacent, and my sense is they're going to be looking a lot more closely at the 240 thing next year than they have been in the past. You in fact have 240 kids assigned to you as a teacher that you give a grade to, or that you take attendance for. So just everybody's aware that that's coming up. All right. If you have news of your school, particularly staffing news, Jeff put out today on all of the Google groups that what we think is the current state of who's teaching what where would very much help us if you would look at that and send in any feedback, including things like you spelled my name wrong, or I prefer to be called Rocco, or anything like that. So we count on you. No school is ever required to tell us anything, so we get 99.9% of our information from the teachers. So please let us know what you know. Okay. If you are planning to take the spring PDE next week, please get signed up. Elms is ready to go, and Jeff has put out a step-by-step way to get signed up on Elms. If you haven't seen it, you can go back and see it. Jeff is in the Google groups. Yep. Go back and look, and if you can't find it, email Jeff and he'll send it to you directly. But we need to get everybody signed up for that. We're about 12 or 15 people short. We have enough to make the class go, which is great, but we're about 15 people short. Those of you who have signed up for that class, we have the books, the free books for you. Please pick them up today so you can bring them to class next week. Remember, that's next week, Tuesday at Clark High School. Okay. Let's see. Speaking of Elms, Elms is a new path lore. If you haven't been on Elms yet, good luck. But we got through Google, so we can get through Elms to go on. So there's a couple of things we want to make clear on Elms is that we think it'd be very, very good for you to go on and check your Elms transcripts. We know that there's several things on that have not made the transition from path lore into Elms, and we're working on those right now. So ask the folks when you go on and you see none of the ASSA stuff on there, don't panic, it's in process right now. bunch of other things. I also checked with the PGP people this morning and did find out that, in fact, if you go on ELMS and you're missing something from your ELMS transcript that is only CUs, so let's say you're missing one of the Southern Nevada Band Director workshops, and it's not on there. There's a couple of ways you can do that. Either it didn't make the transition, in which case we can try to go back and find it. The other way is that for anything that's missing like that, you can fill out the contact unit verification form, and either Jeff or I can sign that form for you, and that will work as well. So there's nobody pretending that the path forward to ELMS transition is flawless. So please be sure that you check your own stuff and you know if you're missing anything, and then keep on it this summer, and if it continues by the time you get here in the fall that you're still missing things, we can work it out with the alternate paperwork. I want to make sure everybody's got their credit for the things that they've done. Okay? All right. Spring PD ebooks, I just talked about that. Also, there's a table out there with free stuff. Please feel free to take anything that you think you might be able to use. Okay. Constituent groups, that would be in here, would be NMEA, ASTA, ACDA, SMDT, any of those groups who are offering, who have in the past offered trainings that are useful for CUs. We anticipate that being a thing again next year that still is useful. However, we want to make sure that they understand, those of you who are in those groups, that the paperwork has become untenable. So when we tell you we need things 12 weeks in advance, we really do. It really takes us 12 weeks to get things through that system. So this year we had several events where people emailed me and said, on Saturday we've got this event, can we get it for CUs? And next year the answer is going to be no, we're not. So those of you who are involved in those organizations, please make sure that at this meeting you get a feel for what you want to offer next year. My sense is that ACDA has been really great about this, and they've got all kinds of stuff, but they do it all in the summer. And I can imagine that all the paperwork for everything you're going to do all year long is right there to go. Laura Dianeska is great at this too, so you can ask her about it to go through. But the paperwork, it's getting more and more difficult as we're doing this with the CU thing. And remember that CUs only matter in Clark County, they don't matter to your teaching credential, all right? The training next week on Tuesday and Wednesday at Clark High School is both. It's both a, you can use it for recertification and you can use it for salary advancement. Okay? All right. In your breakout sections today, some of you are going to be needing to elect new positions, so please make sure you get that taken care of. We really want to leave the meeting today with all of our positions filled for next year. And your area rep or your task force chair will know and be able to go over those things with you in those meetings. Summer instrument repair, same stuff. Just a reminder, if it comes back and it's not clean, it's not going to come back clean. They don't clean them. They fix exactly what you asked them to fix. So if you put it to playing condition and they play it and it plays, they're going to put it back in the case and send it back to you. Right? If you put second valve does not work, they're going to fix the second valve. That's what they're going to do. What does this mean? This means that either be very, very specific and or use somebody else. Okay? Okay. Festival scheduling, just a note here that we had a couple of interesting things with festivals this year where one, principals called because their hair is on fire because all of a sudden they realize in March that the festival schedule that we set out in December doesn't work. And we say, but your teachers showed you this in November. And they say, no, he didn't. And we go, sorry, there's nothing we can do for you now. So make sure when the festival schedules come out and we say, check these with your principal, and you in fact do that, okay? Second thing is that we want to make sure a couple of things. If there's 2 directors at your school who teach that subject, you are eligible to bring a second group. That doesn't mean you have to bring a second group. So if there's 2 orchestra directors at your school, you can bring 2 advanced orchestras, right? But they need to be advanced orchestras, right? And the second thing is, they can't be the same kids playing the same things. Right? Now, I know that sometimes we have, a group where in this group we've got a kid who's playing bass, and in this group he's doubling on viola. Okay, we can put up with that. But if he's playing bass in both groups, that's not two different groups. Right? Plus the scheduling nightmares and all of those things. So please understand that we need to be cognizant of that. All right? It is not a requirement, it's an ability, right? And it's called Advanced Festival, right? When we put this together, my was okay, if you really feel like you got two advanced groups, you're going to put the two names of those groups in a hat, I'm going to pull it out, you're going to be happy with whichever one I pull out, right? Yeah, of course not. Right? So we do a lot of this. Okay, that's an advanced group, sure. Okay, so enough on that. Let's see. If you're not on Google, which if you're here, you're probably on Google, right? And I know people are saying there's still people not on Google. You would be astonished. If you need help with that, if you're not on the Google group, at least make sure that you see Jeff today. He will make sure you are on the Google group before you leave. For those of you who know who Jeff is, because you didn't stand up all night and said thank you, Jeff. Right, stand up, Jeff. Okay, there you go. People are going to be thinking he doesn't really exist. He's just a big man that plays some imagination. Okay, Google Calendar. We believe that the calendar is now complete and ready to go. What we need you to do is to check that and make sure that in fact the calendar is complete and has the right information on it. Jeff's done an amazing job now where you go on and you click on things, there's all kinds of auxiliary information in there that takes you places you need to be. So just double check, and we want to end by the end of this week that we feel really good about it being out there for the summer so that people can actually use it. All right? If you see things that are missing or that are wrong or that need to be changed, email one of us, me, Jeff, and we'll get it fixed for you. Okay? All right. If you have ideas or changes for your area, the time to start is now at this meeting because it takes a lot of planning to make changes. So if you would like to talk about changes to things like honor groups or festivals or all of that, this is the place to start, because what happens after this meeting is that your area reps and your task force chairs then report back to Jeff and I the stuff that you guys want to start talking about. And nothing happens fast in Clark County School District. So if you have ideas, now's the time. Make sure that you say your piece today in your breakout. We always need you to help us gather, and this will be through your area reps and task force chairs, festival adjudicators, and other ensemble guest clinicians. So if you have ideas for those folks, make sure they get to the people that will actually be doing that work. And that would be, like I said, the area reps and or the chairs of those events. But we're always looking for folks. It's usually, I know a lot of people say, well, I suggested someone last year. Well, we're usually 2 or 3 years out because we're trying to schedule these things. So be persistent. If you have somebody that's good, be persistent, bring them up, and if that doesn't work, become a chair.
Yeah.
There you go. Right. Numbers in the programs, we had our best numbers ever this year. Thank you. This is one of the things that has really led to the superintendent. I don't know if any of you have heard him speak yet, but I am not aware of a single place that he has gone and spoken this year to other educators, to the community, anywhere where he has not brought up specifically the Fine Arts program in the Clark County School District. And one of the reasons for that is because many of you have reached out and made connections with him, which is terrific. Well done. And also he's looking at the return on investment numbers. You know, it's impossible to look at our numbers and not go, these guys are incredibly effective, which we are. So keep that up and thank you. Parents on SOTs. Last year we talked about this and I just want to bring it up again. It can be really, really helpful. I haven't heard anybody tell me that having fine arts parents on the SOT at their school is a bad thing. So if you have that ability and or you on the SOT at your school, even better. As I said, free table out there. Let's see. Task force chairs, area reps, please see us before you leave. Us being Jeff and I will be in here. So when we do break out here in a few minutes, theater folks, you're going to go somewhere in here. Toby will lead you. Orchestra folks, you're the biggest group, so you're going to go to the band room. Guitar, you're going to Mr. Pat's guitar room. You said he was cleaned it up for you. And the dance folks, we're going to the dance room. Okay? And then when you're done in your constituent meetings, you're done. You don't need to come back here. All right? Orchestra folks, I need to come in. I want to talk to you about the Bow in the Air project, so please don't let me forget that when Jeff and I come in to go through. Okay, so any questions about our district-wide stuff that you've heard, or you'd like me to address here before we? Right. Okay, so as I said, from here out, I would like to take a personal moment and thank you, the groups, the folks in this group in particular, have spent the last several years. This is the group that represents the largest single growth in the last 5 years. Orchestra has been hands down the largest single growth in the district overall. And the reason we enjoy a great deal of success, or almost all of the success that we enjoy, is because of them. And when I think of the tens of thousands of students this year, it's a little humbling. This is year 33 for me, and Lynn and I are retiring this summer, and we'll be moving out. So the transition plan right now is being worked on. We'll be able to, if you check the Google groups this summer, we'll be letting you know how the transition is going to be working. We know how we want it to work, but that of course never means anything to go through, but we're working on things right now. So I just wanted to let you all know, and it's been my pleasure and honor to be go do your work.
Sorry. Hey, where do we find the books? No idea. The books are right up there. Dr. Magda's got over there. Okay. Hey, man. How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, right. I'm toast.
How many meetings?